Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome. I'm Flora Sage, your personal life coach, to help you create a life and a business that you are super excited about. So today, we're going to look at the theme for the month, which is saying no, so that you can say yes more to things in your life. How often have you said, oh, I just don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. I would love to learn French. I just don't have the time. Or I would love to take that vacation, and there's always something that's getting in the way of what you want. Think about this. How often are you, or do you find yourself waiting for things simply because you don't have enough time? So when we look at the ability for us or someone else to say no, typically you have to know what your boundaries are. Now, last month we spoke all about boundaries. I've got several videos out here in the public, and inside of my 1 Degree Shift tribe, we dug deep and we looked at boundaries. We looked at inner boundaries with ourselves, outer boundaries with other people, and we had so many breakthroughs. It was so incredible. And so this month, learning to say no to other things so that we can say yes to those things that we keep waiting on and waiting for, and that we just don't have time for, that is the key to being able to have the life that you really truly want. So I want to talk about, actually I've got several quotes that I want to share. The first one is from Courtney Carver. Hang on, I'm bringing it up on my screen. She says, I don't say no because I'm busy. I say no because I don't want to be busy. I actually have that quote in my book because I think it's so good. I'll repeat it for those of you who want to write it down. I don't say no because I'm busy. I say no because I don't want to be busy. I mean, that's huge if you think about it. How often do people ask you to do stuff like host a PTA thing or do a fundraiser or like all the things, bake some cookies or whatever, do this garage sale with us, go on a ladies weekend, like all the things. And many times our default is yes. It's like, okay, sure. So why do we have a hard time saying no to people? Why? Well, I did some research, and there was 5 main reasons of why people have a hard time saying no. So the first one is we don't want to disappoint other people in our life. The second one is that you genuinely want to say yes, but you really feel burnt out, and you know that you're going to end up feeling resentful of that yes when you said it, and because you'd rather say no, because you're just tired and you just don't have the energy for it. The third one is that you don't want to risk, you don't want to risk losing the friendship or jeopardizing the relationship. And so you say yes out of that perceived obligation. The fourth one is you don't want to seem selfish for not helping out or being a team player. This is a big one, especially if you're in the case of like a corporate setting, where everybody seems to be pitching in and, oh, hey, chair this fundraiser, or hey, we're doing a potluck and we're doing this extracurricular activity outside of work. And oftentimes we feel pressure to do those things because we want to feel like that team player. So we say yes, even though we don't really want to do it. We really want to just say no. And the fifth one is feeling guilty after saying no. So when you say no, when you say yes, when you really mean no, what happens is your self-esteem starts to go down. You start to get and feel resentment to those people that you often say yes to. You'll feel burnt out. There's a very good chance that you could start to feel lonely because you're so busy doing things for other people that all of a sudden now you have this obligation of doing things for someone, but it's not oftentimes reciprocated. So it feels like you're kind of on this island by yourself doing things for everybody else, but no one is doing things for yourself or for you. And another thing is that a lot of the times people will start to feel like a failure because they don't have time left to do those things that they're really interested in. And there's this fabulous quote by this gentleman named James Altucher, and this is from his book, The Power of No, and he talks about, I quote, "When you say yes to something you don't want to do, here's the result. You hate what you're doing, you resent the person who asked you, and you hurt yourself." So the ramifications of not saying no is huge. So let's circle back around to what I talked about at the beginning of this video about, how often do you find yourself waiting to do something? How often do you find yourself waiting to go on vacation because you don't have the time or the money, or waiting to learn a new language, or waiting to start a new project or whatever because you're so busy? A few months ago, we talked about paying attention to your busy so that you can eliminate the busy so that you can then start to have time and more time freedom so you can do the things that you want to do. Part of that, a big part of that, is learning to say no, and learning to say no not only to other people, but to yourself. And this is what I want to encourage you to do over the next week. And this is something that we were actually doing inside of my 1 Degree Shift tribe as well. So I want you to think about, so often, okay, when we have somebody ask us to do something and we have that automatic knee-jerk, sure, okay, whatever, yes, I'll do it, then we feel like shit sometimes. We're like, damn it, why did I say yes? I really wanted to say no. Well, the reason why sometimes that's automatic is because we don't and haven't practiced saying no, whether audibly, like out loud, or even internally. And so what you can do to get better at this, and this is what I want you to practice over the next week, is I want you to practice saying no to yourself. Okay, so what do I mean by saying no to to yourself? So you could say no to that extra slice of cake. You could say no to skipping your workout. You can say no to sleeping in. You can say no to self-sabotage. Like if you know you need to be doing something and you just are like, well, maybe I'll just skip it today. You can say, no, I'm actually going to do this today. Okay. So again, the gamut of saying no, well, let me give you some more examples. You could say no to working late. You can say no to working on the weekend. You could say no to, let me see, to some of the things that you put on your list, because a lot of us so many of you watching this are the to-do people where you have your list and it's like this long to-do list. You can say, no, I'm going to stop my to-do list at 5 today and only commit to doing 5 things. And so when you practice saying no to yourself, you literally practice hearing it. So when you say it to somebody else, it's not going to be weird. And then another thing that you're doing is you're also honoring what feels good and what doesn't feel good. Because, when you say yes, when you really mean no, your intuition is going, what? Seriously? Like, we don't want to do this. And you feel that dissonance in your physical body. But when you say yes and you mean it, or you say no and you mean it, what happens? You also feel that in your body. It feels so good. It feels so good. So when you start to say no to yourself, when you really mean no, and you say yes when you really mean yes, what happens is all of a sudden you'll feel in harmony. You'll feel that flow, that momentum. You'll feel that movement inside of you that comes with honoring what your intuition says and really what is in alignment with you and where you're going. And so what I want you to do and what I encourage you to do over the next week is to give yourself permission to say no to something, whatever it is in your life, but practice saying no at least 4 times to yourself. And I don't want you to just do an internal, no, I won't do that. I want you to do an audible, no, I'm not going to let myself procrastinate, or no, I'm not going to have that piece of cake, that extra piece of cake, or no, I'm not going to do this or whatever. And again, this helps you to practice and build that muscle, that no muscle, so that when you have the opportunity to say it to someone else genuinely, then it will feel more natural and not so bizarre. Now, next week, we're going to look at the phase of your life that you're in, your priorities, and how that ties in with you and your ability to say no. So Christy said, I almost quit my job the other day because I'm tired of being belittled. I finally brought up my feeling to the management, hoping for a positive result from it. If nothing comes from it, I'm saying no and will leave so I can focus on my entrepreneurial business. Awesome. I love it. I'm so proud of you, Christy. Oh my goodness. I love it. And I love what you said about you brought up your feelings of what's going on to management. And that's a huge indicator on if you should say no or if you should say yes when somebody asks you to do something. Because if you feel out of alignment, you're going to feel it. Like, I know every single one of you can think about a time where you said yes when you really wanted to say no. And that dissonance that you felt, maybe you felt pissed, maybe you felt angry, maybe you felt resentment, maybe you felt like exhausted, just even thinking about the thing that you just said yes to. Maybe you had anxiety, all kinds of emotions come up. But when you say no, or you say yes and it is in alignment, you feel it. It's an easy yes. It's an easy no. And again, part of this comes from knowing that you can and you will be safe when you say no. So I've got all kinds of treats for you this month. So if you want all of what I've shared about saying no to say yes, we did a Lunch and Learn monthly theme kickoff yesterday inside of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe. If you don't want to wait for the rest of the month for me to drizzle this out to you and kind of breadcrumb it out to you, go ahead and click the link in the comments and join the 1 Degree Shift Tribe, and then you will see the recording from yesterday's training and yesterday's workshop. It was freaking epic. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait. I'm going to do one video a week for the next month, which is what I always do. But I'm really, really excited to be able to share all of this with you guys because I'm telling you, this is a game changer when you can start to really genuinely and authentically give a genuine and authentic yes and a genuine and authentic no. Now, some of you might be saying, well, I'm a genuine and authentic person and I say yes all the time. I'm not saying that you're not genuine and authentic. Sometimes we say yes when we really mean no because that's just what our habits are. So we're going to talk about habits in a little bit coming up later on this month. But I want to share with you one last quote before we leave. So Jack Canfield says, I love it. He's got a great quote that says, successful people know how to say no without feeling guilty. So good. And I'll repeat the quote from earlier. Courtney Carver said, I don't say no because I'm busy. I say no because I don't want to be busy. So good. So good. I love that quote so much. Like I said earlier, I put it in my book. I loved it so much. So I hope that this serves you today. If you want my help with this, if you want my support, if you also want to be part of a community of women who is also working through all the little random stuff in their life that seems to get in the way of them being fully and completely happy and satisfied with their life, what I wanted to invite you to do is to click the link in the comments and join us inside the 1 Degree Shift Tribe. This is truly an amazing community of women who, like I said, are creating a life that they're really, really excited about. I had one of my clients last week, share with us that she hadn't seen somebody for a long time, and she's just been a part of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe for about, I want to say 3 or 4 months, and she's been working through the 1 Degree Shift method. She's been digging into all the topics that we've done every single month, and she ran into somebody that she hasn't seen in a really long time, and the person was like, why are you so positive? Like, why are you so happy? And she was like, oh my God, you guys, it's working. This is so cool. And she also found a dream job. She is so freaking pumped. So this is what I want for you. I truly want people to stop you in your life and say, why are you so happy? Like, what are you doing? Show me your ways. So if you want that for yourself as well, go ahead and click the link in the comments and I will see you inside of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe. I hope this serves you and I'll see you next week. Mwah. Bye.